we are at Crowthorne station, where today we'll be walking from Crowthorne station to Martin's Heron station. We'll be subsequently going through Wellington College, Swinley Forest, through to Martin's Heron. Depending on which area you come out of Crowthorne station, you either go across this bridge, which is to your right, or we just go right into the first road on our right hand side. After coming out of the station, we take our first right into St Francis Close, which is conveniently right next to this convenience store. And we head down that way and go through the gate just there. After coming through the gate, we just go along the road until we come to this part here, and we take the footpath which runs down the right hand side of this building here. So we head straight down there. That brings us onto this dirt track, which swings around to the right behind the buildings and will take us down towards the railway track, which is over in that direction. When you reach the railway track, you'll see across the track the playing fields for Wellington College. It's on your right hand side. And on your left there is a small business park. And we just continue straight ahead along this track. Continuing along the track, we now have Wellington College extensive grounds just here on our left hand side, and there is a clay pigeon range just over there. You can't really see it through the trees. There are signs on the fence warning you of the fact. The railway track running on our right hand side, as we come down here, is actually the Reading to Gatwick line, which goes through areas like Wokingham, Blackwater, North Farnborough. At the end of the path, we now come to this gate. We go through the gate and we turn right, so we head down that direction, and we head off down that way, and we'll have some playing fields, part of Wellington College, on our left hand side. Just after passing the gate, we come across this grove of lime trees. These were planted on the 5th of December 2003 to celebrate the 150th anniversary of the founding of Wellington College. The Royal Charter for the foundation was issued by Queen Victoria in memory of Field Marshal the Duke of Wellington, which the college was named after. We just carry on along this pathway, where we've got a hedge now on our left hand side and woodland over on our right. At the end of the hedgerow, we now re-enter the woodland. We still have the still have the railway line on our right, and we just continue along the footpath. A little further down we come across this sign pointing to a public footpath going across the railway track, and another one which is the one we're actually on at the moment, and we just keep following the one we're presently following. So we're heading straight down in that direction. We've now reached the signpost which marks the Ramblers route at the top, public footpath, and a sign pointing out it's a private estate. There's a pathway coming in from our left hand side, but we are continuing straight ahead towards the houses. And continue into Chiltern Road. As we enter Chiltern Road, there is this signpost here which tells us to go to our left, and that's the direction we'll be heading. So we head up Chiltern Road in that direction. We're now actually on the edge of Sandhurst. We continue along Chiltern Road till we get to Grampian Road, and we go left to Grampian Road and head up that direction towards the school. As soon as we turn to Grampian Road, we take this footpath on our right hand side, which is opposite number 5. There's the 2 garages beside it, and we head up that direction. We continue along that pathway until we reach Sandy Lane, which is at the end of the pathway. We then go left, so we're now heading up the hill in that. After a short distance we have Mount Pleasant coming in from our right, but we continue straight ahead up towards the Fox and Hounds public house. We continue past the Fox and Hounds, then head back down the hill, back into the woods again. At the top of the hill, we go through this gate here, into the woodland. There are 2 signs here, one just saying right away, and the other one saying the Ramblers route. We've now entered Wellington College grounds again. There are a number of pathways leading off the main path, but the main path is fairly wide and we just carry on along that one. Like a lot of woodland in this area, it's a mixture of pine trees, oak, elm, but also you'll see often the pathways quite often heathland, which are protected areas. After about 250 yards we come to this area here. The track actually finishes just ahead of us, and we wish to bear to our left going up that direction. There is a tree here marked with a little red paint symbol. Again, there's a number of forest paths running off the main track, but we just want to stick on the main track and carry straight ahead. It is a fairly straight track. The path here is very navigable. In wet weather, of course, it can get quite muddy. It's a steady climb as we go along the side of Edgeborough Hill. May be a bit difficult for wheelchair users, but should be fine in the dry weather. We've now reached the B3348, which you need to cross and head up the bridle path, which does have a sign beside it saying Rambler's Route, right in front of us. You can't actually see the sign very well from here, as it's behind a couple of trees. After crossing the B3348, we will see this sign saying Wildmoor Heath, and we head through the gate here, straight along that path in front of us. Again, just stick on the main pathway, heading straight ahead of you. You do have a number of paths coming in from left and right, mainly going into private property, such as this one here. After about 150 yards, we come across a small post in the ground which marks a public footpath which leads off to our left up beside a fence, but we wish to stick on the bridleway, which is straight ahead of us, and that's a little difficult to make out. It runs slightly to the right of the tree just in front of us. We continue along the track until we reach this fence. We go through this gate and carry on straight ahead of us. There is a sign up on our left marking the Rambler's Route and Bridleway. Again, the track is easily traversable, fairly flat. There are a few tree roots across it, and it can get muddy in areas, especially with these forest streams cross over in wet weather. We keep going along that footpath until we reach this next signpost and junction. We have a public footpath coming in from our right, another one from our left, but we are going to continue straight down the bridleway, which is in front of us, so we head off in that direction. We now reach this small forest stream. There's a little bridge. Just go across the bridge and through the gate on the other side, and we just carry on following the pathway which goes up to our left. Just the other side of the gate there is a bit of a steep climb. Again, this can be fairly slippery in wet weather. At the end of the track we find this tarmac road. We now turn to our left and go through the gate just up there. It is marked with the Rambler's Route. After coming through the gate, we now carry along this small tarmacked pathway straight ahead of us. And we have the Crowthorne press reducing station just on our right. After a short distance we come across this gate which we go through. There is a sign straight ahead saying public footpath to our right, but we will carry on heading up on our left hand side, which is just the other side of these brambles along the tarmac track. We have now come out in the village of Broadmoor on South Road. And we wish to continue down South Road, which is straight up there across the mini roundabout, until we meet Lower Broadmoor Road. We've now reached Lower Broadmoor Road and we wish to turn to our right, so heading down the hill until we come to Eastham Lane. The buildings just in front of us, behind a high wall, is Broadmoor Hospital. A lot of people think this is actually a prison, but in fact it's not. It's run by the NHS. We have now reached Eastham Lane, and we head up Eastham Lane in that direction. At the end of Eastham Lane we now come across this sort of temporary barrier which actually has been here for some time now, and we go through there onto the pathway on the other side leading into the woods. This road is actually fairly new. It's actually a new access road to Broadmoor Hospital, so we now have a gate to go through. There is a public crossing across the access road, and we go through the gate on the other side. After going through the gate we come across this pond with a fence line running beside it, and we follow the pathway running on its right hand side. Just past the ponds we now head up Butter Hill. It's not a particularly steep climb, and it's not very long. After getting to the top of Butter Hill we just follow the footpath straight down the other side. These woods are actually part of Crowthorne Forest, which is actually part of Swinley. There's now been split away since they built Foresters Way through the middle of it. Again we seem to have a number of small paths coming from our left and right. These small forest tracks, but we just want to stick with the main pathway heading up in that direction. We've now reached the Devil's Highway. There is a signpost here, but it's sort of buried in the undergrowth just there, saying the Ramblers Walk, and telling us to go to our right, which is where we want to head to. Devil's Highway is actually in fact a Roman road which ran from London to Silchester. We continue along the Devil's Highway and head through this tunnel which runs under Foresters Way and up the hill the other side. Go along the Devil's Highway until we come to this fence which is right across the pathway. We in fact want to go to our left through that gate there. There is another path coming in on our right. So we now turn to our left, through the gate, and carry along the pathway that way. We just continue along the pathway, which is a bit undulating, but nothing too serious. This area in actual fact is known as Wickham Bushes, and there was, up in that direction, on the high ground, a Roman industrial town just off the Roman road. The next junction we come to is an area called Pip Seat, because of the seat here, which is left as a memorial to a gentleman who was nicknamed Pip. We in fact just carry straight ahead. There's a pathway coming in from our right, and another one next to the seat on the left hand side. And we continue straight ahead towards Caesar's camp. Again at the next junction we just continue straight ahead. Down there we do have a pathway coming in from our right, another one from our left. Again at the next junction we want to carry on straight ahead. We have another pathway coming in from our right and one going off to our left. There's a slightly wet patch here, but quite often that's dry in the summer. And a bit further down we have another pathway coming in from our left, but again we just want to carry on straight ahead. At the next junction we have a pathway coming in from our left. The path going straight ahead, but we're going to enter into Caesar's camp. You can't actually see it. The entrance is just between those trees opposite the pathway coming from the left hand side, and you go through there and there's a kissing gate and you walk up into Caesar's camp. There is a wet patch, again like the last junction, just there, but again it's quite often dry in the summer. We can now see the entrance to Caesar's camp, and there's a stile or kissing gate just there. We'd come down from that direction, and we now go through the gate into Caesar's camp. After going through the kissing gate we just head straight up the hill there into the open area of Caesar's camp. At this point we actually walked through the old fortifications of Caesar's camp, or the bank. Even though it's been eroded considerably over the years, it's still quite high. Caesar's camp is a Iron Age fort built somewhere between 500 and 300 BC. These days it's covered with heather, ferns, low bushes of various kinds. It became unoccupied shortly after the Roman invasion, but was still used as a storage area and also believed for fairs, as the Roman road is not as far from here and there was a Roman town. Makes the Roman road off in that direction. At the T-junction we have a pathway which we come into. If it's a beautiful day with clear views, it is worth going to your left up to the bank, up that way. You've got some fantastic views across the countryside from there. If not, or if you have no interest in that, we now carry on with our walk by heading to the right towards a kissing gate, taking us out of Caesar's camp over in that direction. We now come to the kissing gate. We're going to go through here and turn to our left, so we head off down there towards the lookout. There is a signpost here with the lookout being pointed out to our left hand side. At the next junction we have a pathway coming in from our right, another one from our left, but again we're just going to continue straight ahead. Swinley Forest is a working forest, and they have these 20-year plans. This area has now just been cleared, which they do about roughly every 20 years, as the trees are grown in this part of the forest for wood production. At the next junction we have a pathway coming from our right, another one on our right but slightly towards the front of us, but in actual fact we are now going to be going left, so we'll be heading off in that direction. At the next junction we have a pathway coming in from our right. A little bit further up there's another one on the left hand side, but we are heading straight ahead of us, straight up there. At the next junction we go to our left again, so we're heading off that way. There is a pathway coming from our left, the other side of the gate, just there, and we have lookout if we head off down that path there. If you wish to take a break, the lookout does have a cafe. There is a visitor centre, toilets and so on. We now come out at the start of the cycle paths in Swinley Forest, which are just there. There's a car park off on our right, but we're going to head through that green gate to a laid-by side 9-mile ride. After coming through the gate, we're going to cross 9-mile ride, which can be fairly busy sometimes, and we're going to go through along that dirt track. That's the other side. After crossing 9-mile ride and walking on that track, we come to this tarmac junction here. There is a signpost marking the public footpath and the Ramblers route, and we will be turning to our right here and heading down in that direction. We now carry on straight down this footpath past the Coral Reef Centre, which you'll see on your left hand side, until we hit a footbridge which goes across the Bagshot Road. We now head across the footbridge over the Bagshot Road to the other side. At the other end of the footbridge we head towards the traffic lights and we turn left at the lights. This brings us into New Forest Ride in Forest Park, and we head straight down with Swinley Forest on our right side. At the first roundabout, where we have Bowland Drive coming in from our left, we can continue straight ahead, so we're still heading down New Forest Ride. Just past the roundabout on the right hand side, we'll see this sign saying Ramblers Route, one pointing back towards the roundabout and the other one points into Swinley Forest, and we'll take this entrance back into the forest just in front of us. Head through the gate, take the pathway up the other side and turn left onto a tarmacked pathway. This part of the forest, even though it still has quite a large number of pine trees, we start seeing a lot more chestnuts, oaks and cedars. At the first junction, we wish to go off to our left, staying on the tarmacked footpath, with the road still on our left hand side. At the next junction, we have this pathway coming in from our right, but again, we just want to stay on the tarmac footpath and head up the hill. At the top of the hill, the pathway starts swinging off into the right and we start heading back into the woods themselves. And as you can see, this is a more natural part of the woodland. It's not really managed that much. At the next junction, we have this pathway coming in from our right, another one from our left, but again we stay on the tarmac footpath and head straight ahead, which then curves off to the left. A little further up the path we have this grass pathway coming in from our left, but again we can just continue straight ahead and the path we're following is going to be turning off to its right. As you walk through Swinley Forest, you will see these forest trails running off left or right. Mostly they're actually game trails, and if you're very lucky you can see deer, but usually not until you're right on top of them and they vanish very quickly, but occasionally you can see them grazing beside the footpath. At the next junction we have a pathway running off to our left downhill, and a little further on another one coming in from our right, but again we're going to stick on the tarmac footpath, which now swings around to our right just ahead of us. At the next junction we have this wide dirt track coming in from our right, and another one over here on our left running through the trees down the hill, but again we just carry on straight ahead, so we're heading up that direction. We've now come to the end of the tarmac path where it joins another one which comes in from our right, heading off to our left, and we're now going to turn left here and head down in that direction. We've now reached the end of the tarmac section of the path where we join this stony dirt area. We've got a path coming in from our right, one going straight ahead, but we will be turning left here and heading up that direction, so we head back to Martin's Heron station. At the next junction we have this pathway coming in from our right, one going off to our left, which is not particularly well marked, and we continue on straight ahead and the path turns slightly to the right just ahead of us. We have now come to a major junction where we have a pathway coming in from our acute right, another one to our right, this one slightly ahead of us on the right, another one over here on the left, but we are going to continue straight ahead, so we head up that way towards Martin's Heron. After about 200 yards we now reach a point where the pathway splits, one going off to our left and the other one to our right. I want to take the right side path, which is actually the smaller and less used of the two. But it doesn't matter if you take the left one by mistake, you can still get onto the other path, as it follows beside, literally follows right beside the other one. If you had taken the wrong path, you'd now be actually turning into these trees, instead of being on this path, which runs down the side of the open grass area. We now reach this junction where the path we're on actually swings around to our right, which is the way we wish to go, so we're heading off in that direction. We have this pathway here which comes in from our left, another one going off that way, and one straight up, and the path, if we came the wrong direction, would just come out the other side of those trees there. After swinging to the right, we now come across this more open grass area pathway, and we head straight down. After a short distance we come across this large crossing with a pathway coming in from our right, another one from our left, but we just want to go straight ahead in front of us towards the maze. You'll know you've gone the right way when you see on the right hand side, just past the junction, these sewage works. There is no smell from here, even though it was quite unpleasant some 20 years ago. And we just continue straight ahead along the pathway until we reach the fence line at the end. We've now reached this junction here with a pathway coming in from our left. We have a fence right in front of us with a gate. We wish to go through the gate, which will take us onto the access road for the sewage farm, and we turn right, just the other side. We're now on the access road to the sewage farm. We've got a line of houses just on our left hand side. We carry on until the edge of the end of the houses, where you'll find a pathway leading off onto your left hand side, and we go down there. We now head down this pathway which leads down beside the houses on our left hand side. We'll find a little plain area on the right hand side just around the corner, and we continue past that. After going past the play area, the pathway swings around to the right, goes across a tiny little bridge just in front of us. We continue straight ahead until we reach railway tracks, which is at the end of the houses. Then we turn to our left and take the pathway up beside the railway tracks. After turning left, we now continue along this footpath with the railway tracks on our right hand side and the houses on our left hand side, and this will take us all the way up to Martin's Heron station. Here we are at Martin's Heron station. If you wish to get back to Crowthorne, just go up the ramp here, take another platform to get the Reading train. It's 2 stops to Wokingham, change at Wokingham, and 1 stop from there back to Crowthorne. And this is where we finish our walk today.